and counting. The SpaceX launch teams are finishing final review of data from checkouts of Falcon 9 over the last hour. The launch director is about to poll the team for readiness, both to load propellant and to launch. And the exciting thing is this is the last poll before we lift off. The 7 SpaceX engineers indicate they are go by electronically voting on the online countdown procedure. The launch director also checks in with Dragon mission director and NASA launch manager to make sure that they are also ready. We are proceeding with the crew arm movement. So that access arm that is adjacent to the vehicle, that's going to start to move to its launch position.
Operators in Fire 4 and MCCX. The control will be in a lockdown state until launch escape system is disarmed.
It does take a few minutes for the crew access arm to fully retract, and after that we'll be arming the launch escape system. So on screen you can see the Dragon capsule with the crew access arm still in the surface position. The crew
access arm retraction has started.
So great, we got an amazing shot of the crew access arm retracting away from the Dragon capsule. So again, this is going to take a few minutes to fully retract, and then the next major activity is going to be arming that launch escape system of the Dragon vehicle. So far, weather and range continue to be go for launch. We are monitoring the clearance area around the launch pad as well as air and sea space around the flight corridor. Here at Kennedy Space Center, the conditions are predicted to be acceptable for liftoff just about 43 minutes from now.
Propellant load has started.
There you hear the call out that propellant load has begun. A big milestone. As we are sitting at T-minus 34 minutes and counting, but you were saying, Megan,
yeah, so it's nice to have some new faces, quite frankly,
Yeah.
and to hear some new stories. And like I said, though, we really did not work with them. They worked exclusively on the Russian segment. And so it did not disrupt our ongoing science work that, of course, we're doing that's so important for our international partners. So I think it would be difficult to carry out a movie production as well as carry out the actual work of the space station.
just another example of the continued private use of the International Space Station, and I guess you didn't photobomb their shot?
I did not, no. I stayed
Okay.
safely behind the camera or in the other room entirely.
We are now T-minus 33 minutes, 57 seconds and counting away from the second launch of a Crew Dragon with people on board in 2022. Today will begin the next 6-month rotation mission to the International Space Station. The launch escape system is armed. That happened just before we started loading the propellant onto Falcon 9. The Dragon capsule, though, it was loaded with its propellants about a week and a half ago, just a few miles down the road at a facility SpaceX calls Dragonland. In order to fly, Dragon needs a fuel and an oxidizer. So for the fuel, SpaceX uses monomethyl hydrazine, or MMH, and nitrogen tetroxide, or NTO, for its oxidizer. And together, those propellants feed the Draco engines that maneuver Dragon on orbit.
All right, we're coming up on 2 minutes until liftoff. Standing by for stage 2 LOX load being completed.
Stage 2 LOX load is complete. Dragon is in auto idle.
All right, Dragon's flight computer and auto idle. Next, it'll flip over to countdown.
Expect cloud ending.
Gas closeout has started, so we're now isolating all of the feed lines for the different gas systems from the Falcon 9 rocket. They're going to then get vented. You can hear that venting start. They're going to get vented overboard through umbilicals and through the strong vac itself. Coming up at T-minus 1 minute, we're going to hear Dragon is in countdown. Its flight computer will switch to countdown mode. We'll also hear that the flight termination system on Falcon 9 is armed. Falcon 9 will move into startup and take over control.
FTS is armed, Falcon 9 is in startup and is now controlling. Dragon is in countdown.
Dragon's flight computer in countdown. The FTS, that flight termination system on.
Freedom, SpaceX, go for Crew-4 launch.
Freedom is go for launch.
SpaceX reports go. Crew reports
T-minus
go.
30 seconds.
You heard it there. 30 seconds away from liftoff. T-minus 20.
T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. And liftoff. Go Falcon, let freedom reign. Godspeed, Crew-4.
Vehicle switching downrange.
Copy 1 Alpha.
Freedom soars and the Dragon flies forth. Vehicle already pitching downrange. All 9 Merlin engines have
Stage
lit.
1 propulsion is nominal.
Getting good performance on stage 1 propulsion already.
We are T plus 35 seconds into the 4th rotational crew mission on board Dragon and the Falcon 9. The 9 Merlin 1D engines on the first stage are beginning to throttle down.
Stage 1 throttle down.
In preparation for max Q. This is where the vehicle will experience the highest amount of aerodynamic pressures, so we'll throttle down the engines in preparation for that event.
Vehicle is supersonic.
All right, so we've passed the speed of sound. We're already
Max Q.
And there's our call out for max Q.
Stage 1 throttle up.
So right after max Q, we will begin to throttle those engines up again.
Copy 1 Bravo.
And 1 Bravo, so we're in the second and final abort mode for the first stage. Continuing to get good performance though. The crew already pulling in excess of 2 Gs. And coming up next is going to be a couple of events in rapid succession.
Yep, in about 10 seconds here, we're going to be performing engine chill on the second stage MVAC engine. And then in about a minute, we're going to start off with MECO, also known as main engine cutoff. This is where those 9 engines that you're seeing ignite on, being lit up on screen, those are going to cut off in preparation for stage separation, where the first and second stages will separate from one another, and then the single Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage will ignite and continue to carry our Crew-4 astronauts to orbit.
And we heard that MVAC chill has started.
Stage 1 throttle down.
The 9 Merlin engines starting to throttle down. And standing by for MECO.